girlfriend and best friend betrayed me, their infidelity shattering our lives instantly, so I vowed to erase them forever. I'm a 26-year-old guy, and for the past 3 years, I was in a relationship with my girlfriend, Sarah, who's also 26. Our story began while we were doing our masters in London. I always had a huge crush on her, but never thought she'd notice me. She was honestly the most attractive girl I'd ever met. One evening, during a game of truth or dare, we ended up making out, and to my complete shock, she confessed she also had a crush on me. We started seeing each other a lot after that, and soon enough, Sarah asked me out. Those days were some of the best of my life. She felt like the perfect partner, and I couldn't imagine loving anyone else more. I'm Indian and living in London, while Sarah is half Indian, half British. Even though my parents are a bit conservative, they absolutely adored Sarah. My friends kept teasing us, constantly nudging us toward marriage. After our masters, both of us landed fantastic jobs. I did so well during my program that my starting salary was in 6 digits, which made me feel like the luckiest person alive. Amazing job, wonderful friends, and the perfect girlfriend. I even started planning how to propose to Sarah, a secret only my mother was in on because she wanted to help make it all special. But then, everything unraveled. My best friend, Ryan, and I had been inseparable for about 8 years. He was like a brother to me. Ryan had a girlfriend, Tanya, and they'd been together for 4 years. All of us, me, Sarah, Ryan, Tanya, went to the same college for both undergrad and masters. One day, Sarah and I were relaxing in the park when Tanya called and said she needed something from my house. At this point, Sarah and I were living together. I left to meet Tanya outside our place, handed her the keys, and while I was there, I received a call from my mom. My dad had suffered a stroke, and I needed to rush home, halfway across Europe. I messaged Sarah right away, packed a bag, and raced to the train station. By some miracle, I arrived in time and my dad pulled through. But through it all, there was no response from Sarah, which confused and worried me. Repeated calls went unanswered. The day after returning, I swung by our place with flowers, something I always liked to do. As I walked in, I heard unmistakable moaning from the master bedroom. I froze for 3 seconds, instantly understanding what was happening. Steeling myself, I walked toward the bedroom and opened the door. There they were, my girlfriend and my best friend together. Numb, unable to process the sight, I dropped the flowers and bag from my hands. Fighting the emotions threatening to overwhelm me, I ran from the house and flagged down a taxi, asking the driver to just drive away. The reality hit me so hard that, even though I usually consider myself strong inside, I broke down in tears right there. The cab driver, who was an older gentleman, looked shocked at my sudden reaction. He actually stopped the car and consoled me, patting my shoulder and back, this stranger being kinder to me than 2 people I loved most. Completely lost, I went to a pub, even though I don't really drink, and called up an old friend from school. She showed up within the hour, picked me up, and took me to her place where she lived with her new husband, who was also a good friend of mine. I poured my heart out. They listened, comforted me, and let me crash on their couch. What surprised me the most, though, was that neither Sarah nor Ryan made any effort to call or contact me that night. Not that I would have answered, but the fact that they didn't even try made me feel even lower. I was done. I made up my mind on that couch, I'd never acknowledge either of them ever again. That night, I woke up at 3 a.m. to find over 100 messages from Ryan and Sarah and countless missed calls, especially from Sarah. I didn't even bother opening any of them. I silenced my phone and went back to sleep. When I woke up at 9, I called my boss and explained what had happened, requesting a day off. He was incredible, giving me a whole week and even inviting me over to his house if I ever wanted to talk. The guilt and desperation from Sarah and Ryan exploded on my phone, twice as many calls and messages as before. Still at my friend's house, I confided everything to her, even that I'd been planning to propose to Sarah. The emotion overwhelmed me, and I broke down again. She hugged me tightly, reminding me that, as hard as it was, I needed to be strong for myself. She even suggested I take a little vacation and assured me she and her husband were happy to have me stay as long as I needed. When she got called away for an emergency at her office, I found myself alone with my thoughts and my laptop, left to process my broken heart. Update 1. After everything that happened, I'm still struggling to believe what just unfolded. I desperately need advice for what I'm about to share. This might be long, but it changed everything I thought I knew. It all started around 9 a.m. when Tanya arrived at my friend's house. She'd clearly been crying, her face pale, eyes bloodshot. I gave her a quick hug, hoping she'd feel comforted, but she said nothing at all, obviously waiting for us to be alone. My friend and her husband, sensing something was up, reassured me before leaving for work. As soon as we were alone, Tanya and I sat together on the couch. I touched her shoulder gently and asked how she was holding up. She looked back at me, teary-eyed, and suddenly broke down, clinging to me in a tight hug. I thought she was just overwhelmed, maybe blaming herself for not being there for Ryan or just crushed by what had happened to me. Through her tears, Tanya started mumbling, apologizing, insisting it was her fault. I reassured her it wasn't, that those who betrayed us were the real culprits, not her. When we let go of the hug, she held my hand tightly and told me she needed to confess something. My stomach dropped, I had no idea what she could possibly say at this point. First, Tanya admitted she'd had an affair with her ex, a guy she'd reconnected with at work. It had been going on for months. The day she'd called and asked for my house keys, she'd planned to meet him there. After I packed up and left, she and her affair partner hooked up in my house. I was floored. Then she told me it got even more twisted. During that time, Sarah came home and caught Tanya with the other guy in her room. I honestly wondered if my place was just some revolving door for people to have sex whenever they wanted. I sat there in stunned silence for a minute before asking her, if Ryan cheated on her too, why was she insisting it was her fault that I got cheated on? What came next nearly unhinged me. Tanya told me that her affair partner's back was to the door, so when Sarah walked in, she thought she was seeing me and Tanya together. I actually laughed, thinking it sounded too absurd to be true, and told her to quit lying and just give me the real story. That's when Tanya pulled out her phone. She showed me conversations with her affair partner, with Sarah, and with Ryan, all separately. Reading through them, I could see messages where Sarah called Tanya names and accused me of cheating. Apparently, Sarah believed I was unfaithful and used my dad's stroke as a cover story. Tanya didn't even bother to correct her or set the record straight. It turned out Sarah and Ryan had been persuaded by some mutual friends to have a revenge affair on us, on me and Tanya. Initially, they both said no, but after a lot of pushing, they gave in. The night I got back from the hospital, they put their plan into action. Meanwhile, Tanya was called to my house after I'd left. By then, both Sarah and Ryan were spooked by my behavior, the flowers, the tickets, the bills. They actually called my mom to confirm if I'd truly visited my family, and my mom confirmed everything. That's when Tanya finally admitted to Sarah that it wasn't me she'd caught earlier, she'd been with her ex the whole time, and I had stayed faithful to Sarah. That was apparently the moment reality smacked Sarah and Ryan in the face. Ryan snapped and slapped Tanya. Sarah screamed and broke down crying. Since then, they'd been calling and trying to contact me, trying to make amends after realizing they'd shattered my trust. When Tanya finished her story, my first instinct was to scream at her, throw her out right then. But I was so completely drained that I just started to cry, and then I started laughing, like the whole thing was so surreal it became unreal. Looking at her, I asked one simple question, are you telling the truth? Tanya swore on her father's grave that she was. She broke down again, sobbing harder than ever. I sat there in silence for a long while, asked for her phone, and sent myself the screenshots. Then I told her to leave my house and never contact me again. She begged, said she never meant for any of this to happen. My temper exploded. I shouted at her, saying she absolutely meant to cheat on her boyfriend and destroy my relationship just because she'd wrecked her own. Did she really think I, or she, could ever be the same after this? I cursed and said some truly cruel things that I probably shouldn't have. She finally left, sobbing, telling me she always thought I was the perfect guy for any girl and that she'd regret her actions for the rest of her life. I told her regret and apology didn't change anything. She left in tears, and I, too, broke down the moment the door closed. My friend got home soon after, shocked to see me in that state. I told her everything. She warned me not to trust Tanya, after all, she's a cheater and a liar, but also suggested I should at least read Sarah's and Ryan's texts, even if I never wanted to reply, just to see if any part of Tanya's insane story was true. Update 2. After Tanya left, I sat down with Nikki for a talk. She suggested that I read the text messages Ryan and Sarah had sent me. I took her advice and scrolled through a few of them. Sarah's messages were desperate. She wrote things like, I messed up, please call back. It's all a mistake. I love you, and please let me explain. Ryan's messages echoed guilt and panic. Bro, I am very sorry, please let me explain. I don't have any feelings for Sarah. I don't love her, and again, please let me explain. Their stories matched up with what Tanya had told me. Following the plan some of you suggested, really, this part was Nikki's idea, I decided to reach out to Tanya's affair partner. I connected with him and told him we should meet at a nearby coffee shop, but made it clear, if he let anyone know about our meeting, I would not hesitate to screw up his career by informing HR about his behavior. We met up soon after, and the moment I saw him, I had this weird feeling, maybe Tanya wasn't actually lying. For one, he had a build similar to mine, muscular, tanned, though a bit shorter at 5 feet 11 inches to my 6 feet 1 inch. We even had the same taste in hairstyles, but what really struck me was the tattoo on the back of his neck. It was almost identical to mine. Mine's a chakra, taken from Hindu mythology, his was a sun with a near-matching design. Even Nikki noted the similarities. Nikki was with me through all of this. I honestly owe my life to her. A lot of people thought I shouldn't stay at her place, since she's newly married, but she refused to let me leave. She told me she'd be there for me, no matter what, and when I tried to leave, she insisted I stay. I grilled Tanya's affair partner, asked how long he'd been seeing Tanya, why he would do something so disgusting as getting involved with someone in a relationship. He apologized over and over, just like Tanya had. I was furious, but I held myself back, I didn't want to make a scene. I told him to never contact Tanya, or any of her friends, ever again, and to never repeat something like this. Nikki and I went back to my house. I'd already sent a message for Sarah to leave, through a friend. Once we were home, Nikki said maybe Tanya wasn't lying after all and that I should consider talking to Sarah. but only if it felt worth my time. I asked her what she'd do in my place. She said meeting Sarah probably wouldn't change things, but maybe I'd get the closure and answers I needed, the ones that were stopping me from moving on. I decided to check with my mom about some suspicions people had mentioned. She confirmed Sarah had actually called to ask about my father's health. I told Mom about meeting Tanya's affair partner. She already knew most of the situation, and asked what she thought. She advised that if getting closure by meeting Sarah would help me, I should do it, but with someone there. Obviously, Nikki volunteered to come with me. I didn't want to text or call Sarah myself, so I asked Nikki to reach out. She called Sarah and set up a meeting at my home the next day. According to Nikki, Sarah sounded broken, like someone had made her swallow glass and she was choking on it. I couldn't even feel sympathy for her anymore, which says a lot, considering I would have died for her not long ago. Update 3. Nikki and I sat in my living room, tension hanging thick in the air, as we waited for Sarah to arrive. I had printed out every suspicious text and message I'd found, laying them out before me like a grim reminder of all that was broken. The clock struck 10 a.m. when the doorbell rang. Nikki went to answer it, and I stayed rooted to the couch, my heart pounding. When Sarah walked in, it was as if every emotion I'd been desperately trying to bottle up crashed over me all at once. She looked terrible, her eyes sunken, her face streaked with the remnants of tears, her hands trembling as she entered. Even though she'd tried to clean herself up, the pain and exhaustion were clear. She barely crossed the threshold before she moved to come to me, but Nikki stepped between us, holding up her hand. No physical contact, Nikki declared, firm and steady. We're here to talk, that's all. Sarah crumpled into the chair across from me, sobbing again. Nikki took her own seat nearby, close enough to intervene if Sarah tried to come at me again. No matter how much I'd rehearsed what I wanted to say, seeing Sarah like this bruised some part of me. There was pain for her brokenness, and agony for everything she'd done to me. Nikki reached over and pressed my hand, her silent support steadying me. Nikki started the conversation by having Sarah recount what happened. Sarah's story matched what Tanya had told me and what I'd uncovered on my own. The whole thing felt almost rehearsed, or maybe that was just how manipulated I felt by all of them. Then it was my turn. I looked Sarah in the eye and asked, "How long have you been cheating on me? How many times has this happened?" Her response was pitiful. "I swear I never cheated before. I never loved anyone but you. I didn't even cheat on you. Having sex with someone who isn't your boyfriend while still in a relationship seems like cheating to me," I shot back. Sarah insisted, "It was a mistake. It wasn't supposed to happen. I was deceived and lied to." I pressed her. "So you willingly got naked with my best friend by mistake? You slept with him while still with me, was that an accident?" She said, "Tanya lied to me. She told me you and she were sleeping together, and what I saw confirmed it." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You saw me with her?" "I was nearly 100 miles away, visiting my father who nearly died." Sarah tried to double down. "Tanya's affair partner had the same tattoo as you, I thought it was you. So instead of confronting me," I demanded, "you just decided to sleep with Ryan? Why didn't you even answer my messages? I told you I was with my father, there was an emergency." Sarah broke eye contact. "I thought you were just making excuses, trying to cover up for cheating." Rage and disbelief boiled inside me. How could you even think I'd use my father's health as an excuse? You knew he was sick. Have I ever, in 3 years, given you any reason not to trust me? When did I ever give you cause to suspect me? She sobbed, "Never. You were perfect. You loved me and cared for me. You're the best thing that could ever happen to me." My heart twisted. "Yet you still thought I'd betray you? Leave you for someone else?" "I'm sorry," she wailed. "I let my emotions get the better of me, and the others." She started rattling off friends' names. "They kept saying I deserved better, that maybe I should get revenge on you with Ryan. And you agreed?" I couldn't keep the bitterness from my voice. "I didn't at first. I was against it," she sniffled. "But Ryan. He was so heartbroken, and everyone kept telling us to do it. I just caved." "So you love Ryan more than me?" "I'm a fool. I built my whole future around you. I was ready to spend my life with you, to propose to you. But now, knowing you love him, it's best we never see each other again." Sarah broke down, truly sobbing now. "I don't love Ryan. Not even a cell in my body feels that way for him. I love you. I would have said yes to marrying you 1,000,000 times. Please, I'm sorry. I messed up. I always loved you, and only you. You gave him sympathy sex and call it a mistake?" I practically shouted. "No. I didn't even want to sleep with him," she said, her voice trembling with hysteria. "You admitted you felt bad for him and, with a little push, you slept with him. That's sympathy sex. God knows how many times my bed was used for your worthless revenge." Sarah started hyperventilating, crying out, "I swear it was just once. It was for revenge, not for pleasure." My words came out cold. "I loved you because I thought, no matter what, you'd stand by me, in sorrows, pain, and happiness. Now you've destroyed my trust and my love." She choked on her tears. "Please don't say that. I have no feelings for Ryan. I never did. I love you with everything I am. Give me a chance. I'll do whatever you want, even if it means letting you sleep with someone in front of me 100 times. I'm desperate." That's the difference between you and me, I replied. I would rather suffer in pain and heal than destroy others for revenge. She reached across the air between us, almost begging, don't say that. I can't imagine my life without you. You're my soulmate. I shook my head. The soulmate you distrusted. The soulmate you suspected. The soulmate you stopped loving. Sarah pleaded, I'll go to therapy, I'll fix myself. Please don't end this because of what Tanya said. My voice was razor sharp. Tanya told you to distrust me. Tanya told you to sleep with Ryan. Tanya told you to get naked with him. Did Tanya force you, really? Sarah hung her head. I'm sorry. I should have known better. I shouldn't have listened to them. I love you and I'll never stop loving you. Please, just one chance. But it was too late. Your apologies, your I love yous, won't change what happened. I can't unsee those images. You had someone else inside you while we were together. You can't take that back. Whether it was for pleasure or revenge, it doesn't matter. You cheated. Sarah kept crying, repeating, I love you, I'm sorry, please take me back, I don't want to live without you. Finally, Nikki cut in, asking her to leave. Sarah refused, declaring she wanted to be with me forever, but Nikki was firm, telling her she needed to go or we'd get a restraining order. Eventually, Nikki escorted her out as Sarah kept repeating, please don't end us. We're stronger than this. I love you. Please, a second chance. The moment Sarah left, I slid from the sofa and hit the floor, racked with sobs, wondering how I ended up in this nightmare. Nikki sat beside me, helping me piece myself together. She guided me to the guest room, urging me to rest, and exhaustion finally consumed me into sleep. When I awoke, Nikki's husband was there beside my bed, with his laptop open. He told me Nikki had errands and didn't want to leave me alone, so he stayed. I cried again, hugged him, and told him how much I owed both of them. He reassured me, saying what mattered now was getting myself better, especially because my parents needed me. In the past 24 hours, reality had hit me hard. I'd been drowning in my own pain for so long, I'd forgotten how much my own family needed my strength. Update 4. I called up Sarah and told her I had finally come to a decision and needed to speak to her in person. Within 20 minutes, she was at my door. As soon as she arrived, she kept pleading, telling me she loved me and insisting that we could work things out, repeating those desperate lines over and over. But this time, before I said anything, I needed answers. There were questions swirling around in my head, and certain things people had pointed out started to gnaw at me, making her answers seem even more suspicious in hindsight. I stared at her and laid it all out. I want an honest answer, Sarah, and you can't lie to me, I have evidence. Of course, I was bluffing, but I needed to see her reaction. Have you ever cheated on me before? I asked. She shot back instantly, her voice quivering, no, never. That thought never even crossed my mind. She claimed a lot of our friends had crushes on her, news to me, and that they would flirt, but that she never encouraged it. Maybe once, that would have made me feel proud and secure. But now, it just sounded hollow. Then I asked the question I dreaded the most, how many times did you have sex with Ryan? The moment I said it, she broke down, sobbing messily, protesting with those same tired words about love and how the whole thing meant nothing. But I interrupted, cutting through the noise, just answer my question. Finally, she whispered, we did it twice, the day you caught us, and the night before. Those words echoed in my mind. So, it hadn't just happened once. She wanted more even after the first time. Whatever lingering love or pity I had for her disappeared instantly, evaporating into nothing. I looked over at Nikki. She met my gaze and gave a tiny nod. That was all I needed. I turned back to Sarah, letting my voice drop. Okay. I got my answers. I'm going to ask you to leave, and never try to contact me again. I need my space. This relationship is over. When I said this, the news hit her like a hammer. She collapsed to her knees, wrapped herself around my legs, and started crying so loudly it made my skin crawl. She begged me not to do this, said I was her life, her happiness, and that she couldn't lose me. I told her firmly that pleading was useless, that she should just move on with Ryan, or anyone else. I wasn't the right person for her. Still, she wouldn't let go. Not even when I threatened to call the cops. Through tears, she said, I don't care what anyone tries to do, I love you, and I always will. Gently, I pushed her off, freeing myself from her grip. I repeated again, it's over. You have to move on. Things were spiraling out of control. Nikki had to literally drag her out of the apartment because I couldn't bring myself to call the police in that moment. I didn't want to escalate things further. But, ultimately, I did call the cops afterward and got a restraining order just in case she tried anything else. She didn't stop though. She kept calling, messaging, blowing up my phone. It took some time, but I finally blocked her for good. Even some of our mutual friends tried to get involved, but I blocked the ones who I knew were just going to bring drama and negativity. I've been a wreck. I asked Nikki to leave so I could try and heal on my own, as much as she insisted on staying to help. She finally left when I begged her to. The pain is still sharp, there's no denying it. I loved Sarah deeply. Even though it was just 3 years, it felt like a whole lifetime of love to me, and letting that go. It's unbearable sometimes. But somewhere in the pain, I feel the faintest glimmer of relief, knowing that, with time, life will get better, and I won't be haunted by my past forever. I've decided to let go. Update 5. A few of the friends who pushed me toward the whole revenge affair idea have been trying to reach out, calling and apologizing nonstop. One of them even showed up unannounced at my place, desperate to tell me how sorry she was for what had happened. I looked her in the eye and told her I didn't care about anything she had to say. I simply don't consider her or any of that group my friends anymore. She started talking about Sarah, telling me that she's been crying constantly since leaving my place, saying Sarah is miserable and hasn't been eating properly. Apparently, Sarah has tried to hurt herself, not in a suicidal way, but by hitting the mirror, slapping herself, and other self-destructive behaviors. I just told her, since you were so enthusiastic about helping her have a revenge affair, I'm sure you can help her move on, too. She tried to argue further, but I closed the door in her face. Meanwhile, my real friends, the ones I actually trust, have kept me in the loop. They've been bombarded with non-stop calls and messages from Sarah since I blocked her everywhere, but they haven't responded, and they told me they have no intention of doing so. Hearing that honestly gave me a sense of relief. Update 6. So, yes, I finally sat down to have a talk with my RA friends. I started with 2 girls from our group, the same ones who, according to Sarah, had pushed her into the whole mess. For the record, I recorded the meeting and brought a few of my friends along for support. Both of them were incredibly apologetic, repeating over and over that they regretted ever encouraging Sarah to do what she did. One even confessed that she'd had a crush on me for a while, and in her jealousy thought breaking me and Sarah up was a good idea. I looked at her and asked, if she thought I was a cheater, why would she even want to date me, knowing what she thought I'd done to Sarah? She admitted that, at that moment, her only goal was to end our relationship, and that's why she planted the idea of RA. I pressed further, asked if she'd been in contact with Sarah lately. She admitted Sarah had blocked her and some of the others for days. I wanted to understand why they did this, because having a crush didn't justify that level of sabotage. We'd been friends for so long. Why didn't any of them call me, even to yell at me? Turns out, they'd promised to go no contact with me. Seriously, stupidity at its finest. I asked whether Sarah had any feelings for Ryan. They swore she didn't. Then I dropped the bomb. They had no idea Sarah had slept with Ryan twice, just thought it had happened once before I caught them. As I continued to question them, I made it clear how betrayed I felt, not just by Sarah, but by these friends who used to be my support system. They got emotional, promising to never make such immature decisions again. I forgave them, but told them to stay out of my life. I didn't need that kind of toxicity. They were clearly hurt, begged if we could at least keep in touch occasionally. I refused and left soon after. After that, I met with a few guys from the group, same story. One was angry at me for breaking Sarah's heart. Seriously, what the actual fuck? Obvious case of someone nursing his own crush on her. And then, out of nowhere, I learned that a few of them had known about Tanya's affair with her AP. That one knocked the wind out of me. I was so mind-fucked, I couldn't stick around any longer. Back home, my close friends gathered around and the one who theorized the RA was because of their crushes proved to be onto something. We talked about next steps, whether I'd see Sarah. After mulling it over, I finally unblocked her and ignored her torrent of messages, instead sending her a short text. I'd meet her on Sunday, if she could come. So, finally, I met Sarah. I knew I didn't plan to see her again for at least some time. She arrived at my place, and for this, I chose to do it alone. No Nikki, no friends. When she walked in, I honestly felt like someone socked me in the gut. She looked miserable, bandages on her wrist, bruises on her face. I was really freaked out. I'd been told she'd been self-destructive lately. She looked at me with tear-filled eyes and hugged me. I let it happen for a few seconds before gently pushing her back. We sat together in the living room, and I told her directly, before we start, I want to be clear, I won't be reconciling. Please get that out of your head. She nodded quietly. Why are you hurting yourself like this? Do you really think it makes me happy seeing you like this? She could barely speak. I can't forgive myself for what I did. I'll admit it happened twice, but not out of pleasure. I wanted to hurt you more. I'm not here to talk about that anymore. That's not why I wanted to meet. She broke down. I know what I did was wrong. I was rash, immature, and stupid. I shouldn't have let my emotions take over. I shouldn't have doubted you. I used to feel our love was perfect, but when I thought you were unfaithful, everything turned into hatred. I'm sorry I was so stupid. Please, I don't want to move on in life without you. I can't. It's good you realize your mistakes. I hope you won't repeat them in your future relationships. Harming yourself won't change what happened. And I don't want you to hurt yourself anymore. It hurts me, too. She sobbed harder. How can I forgive myself? I destroyed a relationship that, in reality, was actually perfect. I hurt the one person who loved me most. Now I have to live with that pain and guilt. I told her about the conversation with the RA friends, about the guy who had a crush on her. I played the recording. She buried her face in her hands, crying, why did this happen to me? Why did I ever listen to them? I explained to her that our relationship was broken, there was nothing left to fix. But I said I was willing to be just friends, that she could reach out only for emergencies, but for now I needed space, and she needed to move on with her life. I made it clear, no contact, unless I decide otherwise. She asked, voice trembling, if there was any chance for us in the future. I told her honestly, none of us knows what the future holds. She could find someone new. I could, too. For now, I needed my space, and she needed hers. She agreed, saying she was willing to wait a lifetime if needed. We talked for a while longer, and finally, I asked her to leave. She asked for a last hug. Reluctantly, I let her. The hug lasted longer than before. She sobbed on my shoulder. As we broke apart, she kissed my cheek and apologized immediately. In that moment, I knew I had to stay no contact with her until I healed. When she left, it felt like I could finally breathe again. A weight lifted from my chest. I knew I needed to focus on myself, to heal, and to make new friends. At work, there was a group whose vibe matched mine. I started talking to them more, even considered befriending some of them. As for those who suggested I let Ryan know a few friends had known about Tanya's affair, I had no intention of calling him. Instead, I emailed the audio and a summary of the conversations, then blocked him again. I'm doing better. Not perfect, but better. My father's recovery is going well, thanks, genuinely, to everyone who wished him well. Nikki's doing fine, too. I haven't done anything for her yet, still putting myself back together. Ryan called me through an anonymous number. I barely answered, just listened as he rambled on for 5 minutes before I cut him off. He tried again a couple more times, but after I refused to meet and kept my distance, he gave up. Haven't heard from Sarah since our last conversation, though a friend told me she quit her job and is in individual counseling. I ran into one of the RA friends at the store. She tried to invite me for coffee, but I politely declined and didn't stick around to chat. Work has been going well. I've made 2 really good friends, and honestly, they're great people. For now, that's where I'm at. Thank you to everyone who kept checking on me, who stayed in touch and supported me through the worst of it. Went to a few more therapy sessions, and mentally I feel a lot stronger. Sometimes, I still feel emotionally drained, but it's getting better. Life update, I've been away for a while. Sorry to any friends and family whose messages I missed. It's been a busy time as I chase a higher position at work. But I just wanted to say, I'm doing fantastic. My life is in a place I never imagined after that phase. To those who ask about my ex, she's still in the same city. I see her now and then, but we're not really in contact. Maybe a call once a month, sometimes not even that. My dad's in good health. He came to visit recently for a week, even joined me at the gym. Life is good. I'm grateful for everyone who helped me withstand that storm. I don't let those memories haunt me, and I know you're all still here to help keep me on track.